Jim Walker, how are you, sir?
Good, man.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. Cheers. This coffee.
Yeah.
It's hitting hard right now.
It's
Oh,
what-
God
oh,
bless it. Oh, it's good. That's why the table, it's an espresso stain. So you can spill coffee on it all day long. God, I'm not a bougie guy, but the French press does make a good cup of coffee.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, the only reason I have that is because I hate filters. I hate having like one, like whatever the resource is. It's like, oh, you buy a pack of 100 filters. Yeah, but then like 100 days from now, or 50, you run out of filter, and you always run out at the
Oh,
worst
yeah.
time.
And then you have to use a napkin or something.
Dude, paper towels and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, no. So the French press is like the machine itself. You can also it also doubles as a teapot in case you don't want the
If
coffee.
you're a
If
tea
you're
type
if you're
of
of
guy.
that persuasion. Listen, man, you are running for the auditorium district in Boise. You're currently a trustee. I didn't know that the auditorium district was a thing until somebody told me recently. They're like, yeah, you know how you go to like a hotel somewhere, and we love traveling around the state. It's fantastic. Like, that there's always a line on it for like, the auditorium district, or hospitality tax, things like that. That money goes to the auditorium district. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what do they do? And they're like, well, they essentially are charged with collecting money from, hospitality, is essentially predominantly hospitality agencies or organizations, companies, right? Like Marriott or Hilton or whatever. They collect the money and then they improve the area because the people that are looking to make money off tourism directly benefit from having like a better area. So it not only benefits those people, but it benefits everybody who lives there permanently as well. So it's like, it's the tax off of the backs of people coming to exist here, and it benefits everybody.
Yeah. It's a great, what I like about there's 3 existing auditorium districts in the state. Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Boise, but you see Meridian, you see Nampa. They're making moves to add auditorium districts because it's a tool that communities need to build infrastructure, and it doesn't take a dime of property tax. It's all paid for by mostly visitors to our area. So it's beautiful because our own citizens aren't paying the tax. It's our visitors, and it gives a community a tool to build things that are necessary to attract more visitors because. So tech and ag are our top 2 income producing industries in the state, but
Sure.
tourism is number 3. And so to keep tourism at that, keep
Peak. Yeah.
peak is we have to add things that attract visitors. And for us at the Boise Auditorium District, the first thing we ever did was build the convention center downtown.
Oh, you know what? I've been to that multiple times recently. And every time I go, I'm like, God, who had the foresight to build this thing? But they didn't. You guys did.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, man. That's really awesome. And I've been, again, several events of like, this is wild that this exists in the middle of my other studio downtown is just a block away from that.
Really?
Yeah. It's right on 9th Street.
Oh, that would have been convenient.
Yeah, it would have been. Well, you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me. I don't know you don't live there. You're just in charge of it.
I know, but I don't. I do live close to it, so
Well, next time. There's always next year.
yeah.
Anyway, so you guys build that convention center, which attracts people from not just around the state, but like from around the country.
Yeah. So we built that. That was built in 1990. So the district was formed after BJC. So there was a Boise Junior College
Okay.
district, taxing district, and when that sunsetted,
Whoa. Keep going. Keep talking.
the leaders of the community decided that, hey, instead of letting this sunset, let's reform it into an auditorium district, and they did I think in the 50s, but eventually they had collected enough money to build the original convention center. I was elected at first in 2013, became chair in 2014, and the different agencies downtown, we had the city and CCDC, which is the redevelopment agency of Boise. We came together and evaluated different opportunities for the community. Was it a performing arts, theater? There's sports arenas, and this opportunity bubbled up because at the time the city had funds from the Department of Transportation to build the bus depot downtown.
Sure.
BSU wanted a downtown tech center for their students, and then Clearwater, but they needed an anchor piece of property. that made sense within that area. So it was a parking lot next to U.S. Bank, and then there was a space between Grove Hotel and U.S. Bank. Keep hitting that.
Yeah, my God, I'm gonna have to lift it up when Lieutenant Governor Becky comes in. He talks with his hands.
Yeah.
So I have to put it on a stand and get it to come down like a boom. So I like, because if you put it down low, he's always waving his hands. That's great. You're in good company. And
Good.
Again, for this project, this is the revamping of the convention center, or this is?
So we expanded. The original center was on the corner of 9th and Front.
Gotcha.
And we were looking for, so one of the things that our goals was to find ways to host bigger conventions, bigger meetings that we were losing out on to, like Spokane and Reno. And we wanted to compete for those bigger conventions. So bring more people into downtown. And the developer proposed it to us. Hey, we could add an expanded convention center space on the other side of the Grove, and it'd be part of this overall project. And we evaluated it, it made sense, and we moved forward on it. It was quite complicated, and it was more expensive than what we had. We had about $25 million in funds available to invest. We ended up leveraging that. CCDC sold bonds, and we have a annual appropriation lease now. So we still have a lot of funds available to reinvest in other projects, which we did. The second project we worked on was the Aquatic Center that's up on Federal Way.
Oh, I was there. That's the giant bubble looking thing,
Yeah.
right? I was there 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago for a water polo tournament. That's a fantastic, and my wife actually plays, she plays polo there as well.
Really?
My kids, and yeah, that's an incredible setup there. I had never been there before. Yeah. It's come on. It's the ICAC Center.
Yeah.
Idaho,
ICCU Aquatic Center.
yeah. Yeah, man. That's a great spot. So that was all you guys.
Well, so the nonprofit organization, it was Idaho Swim. I don't know. They'll correct us later.
Yeah.
But they came to us with a proposal. They had raised some private dollars, and for a group to come that they don't just have an idea, but they're going to participate.
Yeah.
Was interesting to us. And as we worked with them and their proposals and how expensive it was going to be, I mean, at first, $10 million will get the first Olympic approved swim well in the state. The others don't meet the standards,
whatever they are. Yeah.
And they also were pretty tied into the swim community nationwide, and they forecasted. I mean, a pro forma of events is always a wish list, but they actually came through with hosting these huge events that bring people into swim.
Yeah.
And so for filling our mission, it was infrastructure, but it's also bringing visitors to the state that otherwise wouldn't come. And they've hosted like 3 or 4 national scale swim events where people have qualified for the Olympics. And our investment into it, I mean, the construction costs were off, and we had to invest more than we expected. But in the end, we set up this lease arrangement with the group, so they'll eventually own it. But our lease, so for every event that they host that brings revenue,
yeah,
we reduce our lease payment by that. And because we foresaw that there's maybe down the road where the local programming would overwhelm it, and they wouldn't want to host those out-of-town events anymore. But this lease arrangement makes sure that they're going to continue to host those events and bring visitors in, at least during the duration of our lease, which is 20 years.
And the city, the auditorium district, gets made whole on their investment, right? Because you guys invested in money as a partnership. You have community buy-in, you have community access to it, which is awesome. And then they pay you back over the period of 20 years, so that this project is something that it is owned now by someone else, but over the duration of 20 years, you did get all this benefit. The community of Boise got all this benefit, and surrounding areas.
Yeah, and then we have the lease payments to invest into other projects.
Gosh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Look at you.
for me, that was one of the. I would like to do more projects like that, but the statute that guides auditorium districts allows us to. It doesn't have to necessarily benefit tourism. It creates infrastructure that's necessary to make Boise better. And what they've found and explained to us is that there was such a desert of for swim lessons and education that they could program the entire thing just doing swim lessons, because there was such a need. And for us to fill that need, it gives me a warm fuzzy for answering something that the community needed but wasn't front and center. But it's serving so many people who otherwise wouldn't get their
essentially water safety and things like that. I'm having Chief Niemeyer on soon to talk about from Boise Fire District. Boise Fire Department, excuse me, it's not a district, but from Boise Fire Department to talk about the preparation that the Boise Fire Department is doing on the river, because the river is a fantastic attraction, but it's also incredibly dangerous, and it exists during the recreation time in that form because of the effort that goes into it. Like, most people don't know anything about sweepers. They don't know anything about, the underground, rebars or cements or currents and whatnot. And, it's such a wonderful attraction that having that in your backyard, and then just make sure it's like, hey, can we also try to help to make sure everybody knows how to swim? It's like, that seems such common sense, but it's not always something that happens, right? Like my former state, there's a river in the Sacramento area that we would go down, and people would die there all the time, because it seems like this great thing, grab some beers, like rent a raft, go floating. And then, people take off their life vests, their undercurrents and whatnot. And it's really unfortunate. So it's awesome to know that you guys are filling that niche too.
Yeah. That's, that's kind of when we evaluate other projects that we can invest in, what's going to get the most benefit for the citizens, and at the same time, are we also helping with the business community? It's the convention center is definitely an economic engine for Boise, because these businesses and groups that choose Boise for the convention center, you're bringing people in who might also someday locate their business here. Or
how dare you? Are you bringing other people here?
Yeah,
you're about to become the most unpopular trustee in the history of the world. You're part of the problem, Jim. I just want you to know.
Yeah. In fact, that is when I look at the people who are anti-auditorium district, they're bringing more people here, and they shouldn't. And
yeah, but that's because they're making the area awesome. Yeah. Like I want the ICAC, again, Idaho Community College Aquatic Center, right? Because there's another acronym, ICAC, which is Internet Crimes Against Children, but it's not.
It's Idaho Central Credit Union.
Oh, Idaho Central Credit Union Aquatic Center.
Yeah.
IQAC or something. But the point is, like, I have such an appreciation for this, where, what it's kind of like? It's kind of like the grocery tax. So many people got upset about the grocery tax, which is fine. None of my affair. They're like, you want to be upset about it? Great. You love it? Great. Doesn't matter to me. But what people were failing to articulate in their argument against it is like, well, we give you most of that money back, if not all of it. At the end of the year, when you file your taxes, and what it really is a tax on tourism, because people come in here, they buy groceries. It's a tax on people that don't file taxes, for you're all cash or a sovereign citizen or whatever you are. None of my affair, right? But you're a sovereign citizen, you're probably not paying taxes. Like, it's a tax on people that aren't going to file taxes in this state. And that accounts for anybody else, right? Tourists, recreation, things of that nature. And that's like a free giveaway. It was like, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the cities where you see a lot of big infrastructure that's going on. I mean, Spokane, for some reason, they can continue to build things, but Washington provides them with the tools to do that. Not just a sales tax, but other taxes.
Sure.
in Idaho, we're a little more limited in what we have to build infrastructure. Auditorium District's perfect because really it's not a tax on our citizens. And but you see the visitors. One of the things that we notice by the different reports we get from the tourism industry is that they're spending so much on rooms, but they're like spending double that on food and other things.
Sure.
And so bringing these visitors in helps fill the weekends of like when we look at projects like the ICCU Aquatic Center.
Yeah, every restaurant in a 10-mile radius is getting bumped up. Every grocery store, people are going in to buy waters and supplies. Yeah, everybody.
And we've also helped create what is a pretty strong hotel market in Boise, not just downtown core, but as it spreads out, the average daily rate has gone up every year. The occupancy rate is held pretty steady at about 70%. Hoteliers will tell you that anything 60% and above in terms of occupancy rate is a very healthy hotel market. And if we can continue to support that's what I hope to do in my next term as well. Bring another project that helps fill up their hotels on weekends or adds to our downtown meeting space so we can attract those conventions that right now we can't host because we don't have enough space or scheduling issues, that sort of thing. We want to, that to me is our key asset is the convention center, and want to support that mission and continue to allow our sales team to bring in and sign up those conventions that we're not getting now, and bring those visitors in. But how do we also help with filling up the weekends in the hotels? The business community fills up the hotels for the most part Monday through Thursday. Some of these projects, these multi-use sports facilities will help fill up those rooms on the weekends.
Gotcha. So do you know anything about the professional soccer team that's coming in? I saw all the county commissioners with like soccer balls and stuff. I'm trying to Commissioner Beck and I have been trying to get times lined up, and I keep having to be like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I got to reschedule. He's super gracious. He's like, just let me know when. So, because I want to know a lot about it. I mean, obviously it's, we don't have professional sports teams. We had, steelheads and stuff, but we don't have, a big professional sports team, like a big baseball team or football team or anything like that. And it's like, fine, I'll learn soccer. Like, I don't know. Anything done at a high enough level I'm into. Actually, I'm terrible watching sport. I would watch it if it was like the championship match, but I'm terrible watching sports on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I'm just not that guy.
I'm kind of with you there. Like the March Madness, I don't know anything about any of the basketball teams until they finally make it there. And then the first round, if a underdog pushes into the next, the Sweet 16, then I'll keep watching it. But otherwise,
I don't think I've ever watched a full game of March Madness. I'm not a very good person. I also didn't know who was playing in the Super Bowl this year. I was talking to somebody about this weekend. I don't have space in my life to just follow somebody else's heroic professional pursuit. Like I have my own pursuits. I have my own, like endeavors that I'm investing deeply into, like my family or my friends or my own sports, right? Like I do sports. Like my wife goes and plays, water polo matches. Like I want to watch that. I want to support I don't care about like some random dude, but I know people do. And so I'm all in favor for the soccer.
Well, and to answer your question, I know some of the guys were involved. We haven't been asked to participate yet. It may be coming, but that overall project there, we've met with the county commissioners a few times, and they have their own ideas on how they want to develop that property, and if they want to cooperate, we're always willing to listen to other
ideas.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. Yeah, I don't know.
Wait a minute, you're a Cal guy. Is that why you're not into sports? Because Cal's never been really good at anything.
Well, that's humorous because I happen to have a gold medal from the national championship for my sport from Cal. That's probably why, because I was doing my own stuff that nobody cared. It's fine that nobody cared. I didn't ask anybody to come to the regattas.
You have a gold medal?
Yeah, I won the 2004 rowing, collegiate rowing. I was in a 4-man boat We won first place.
No kidding.
Yeah. Smoked 2 Harvard boats, Yale, Stanford, Princeton.
Because those are usually, the Ivy Leagues are usually the dominant.
Interesting thing. That's actually not true. It's classically known to be an East Coast sport. So the Harvard-Yale boat race was the first collegiate sport ever that ever got started, well before like football and stuff. And that was like 1880 or 1890 or something. But shortly thereafter, the Washington-Cal duel developed. And so we've been each other's arch nemesis for like 100 years. And the West Coast has an advantage over the East Coast from a training standpoint because our rivers don't freeze over. And so we can train year round, and it's cold and like raining and it's miserable, but we don't have to get off the river. So we can, like I trained in the Oakland estuary. So in between where there was like fresh water meeting the salt water, in between Alameda and Oakland, it was in the ghetto, man, like in the ghetto. It was like old Oakland industry. And dude, you didn't want to touch the water either because it was super polluted, and like people would get like staph infections in their hands and stuff. But you could train year round there, and so we were actually incredibly dominant. When I was there, we won the national championship 4 years in a row, and then Cal swept the national championship. I think it was like 2 years ago. They won every single event they entered, beating out all the other crews. Yeah, so we actually won the Olympics 3 times.
I can't wait. I'm going to send this to. So we hired a guy in the fire department, the UW guy.
Oh,
and he's UW, the Huskies, we're dominant in everything. And so to show him this.
Oh, well, they did like, so it's UW, Cal, Yale was in there for a little bit because the coach I had, Steve Gladstone, when I was in college, he went over to Yale about 10 years ago, and he has since moved on to a different project, but they were Yale won for a couple years in a row. So it's classically like Cal, Washington, Yale, Harvard has had a hot minute. Yeah, it's pretty.
Penny, because I lived in Philadelphia for a while, and they had that fancy boathouse down on the Schuylkill River.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, they have really nice boathouses.
Oh yeah.
Were they ever any good?
Big hat, no cattle. I got a cool tradition in rowing that nobody knows about, but I think it's still cool. I actually just moved, so I got reminded of this. When you lose a race, you have to go over to the guy who is sitting in your seat in the boat from the other team. You have to take off your racing jersey and hand it to him. So like there are people that have yeah. And like it's branded with your school. Like you all have unique, just like you have unique oars, you have unique racing jerseys. But when you win a big regatta, you have a line of guys coming over. So I have a pile of racing jerseys like this big. And the beautiful, like the picture you always want to have is smiling with like a gold medal with like all these jerseys stacked up on your shoulder.
Nice.
Yeah. So like I have this picture from me
cool
at
tradition.
22. Yeah. It's brutal. It's brutal. Like, and it's, it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, this hard edges.
Have you ever met Alan Sheely? He was a former Boise City councilman.
No.
Yale rower, rode in the Olympics as well.
No.
And he's a pretty interesting guy. He was a hedge fund dude and then Boise City Council for a lot of years. We took him to fire ops over in Washington.
How'd he do?
He did. I mean, he's like you. Rowers are pretty competitive, I found out. So.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so when do we run up the stairs with the hoses? They're like, we're not going to do that because that guy would die. Like he'd have a heart attack. Like, okay, well, when are we going to do like the carry the guy out? They're like, we're not doing that. It's all we can do to get him in a dark room with some smoke, which is true. There was that search and rescue, the search and rescue evolution that I did at the end. So it's already at the end. You're already like hot, like you're sweating and been slamming things down. People are already throwing up. And I'm like, okay, so what do we do? They're like, we're going to go in there. It's going to be pitch black. You got to put on, your mask and you got to like follow the fire hose. I was like, okay. And then what? They're like, well, you can't walk. You got to crawl. I'm like, and then what? It's like, well, then we find the person. I'm like, do we drag him out? They're like, yeah, man, you can drag him out. It's like, come on. But it's funny how nerve-wracking. I was telling the guy I was with in fire ops, Tony Billingsley. I was like, that really didn't bother me that much because he and I are both fighters. Like, I don't use my eyes when I'm fighting anyway. Right? Like I do jujitsu, right? And it's like you get tied up in jujitsu, you have to see physically where you are in the world in relation to the person you're fighting in your head. Because there's no way, like your eyes are irrelevant. Like if you're twisting around upside down, it's like you need to know where the world is. So for me, take away my vision, it's irrelevant. It's like, just keep going forward. I can see where I am in relation to the rest of the world. Or at least I can feel it with my other senses. Yeah. So it didn't bother me at all.
It's interesting because we have a lot of fire guys who are in jiu-jitsu, and I never thought about it from that perspective. Like, it's a sport where your eyes aren't, good vision's not an
No,
advantage. It's
you
all
can
about
blindfold
feel.
me, no problem. It doesn't matter to me at all. Like as soon as we make contact, it's like, I know exactly where, like I can feel where your balance is without even looking. It's like, oh, he's raising his left arm. I'll tip him to the side. I know your arm's going to go down. So like I tip you and just grab for your arm because I know it's going to be there.
God, think about it. Some of our best firefighters as well are wrestlers, former college wrestlers. Really good. Same sort of.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, their wrestlers are just, man, they're hammers. Yeah. But it was really interesting going into fire ops and, maybe in another life. I have a very dear friend, Rob, who actually went into Sacramento fire right after college. And he's been very successful. He was a tank, man. I think ultimately the real value of that sport is learning how to just work in a vacuum, because we would do like I was at 7 a.m. in my barn this morning on the rowing machine, just like by myself. And I remember those times as a younger man, like 19, 20, when you're really learning how to work, where you just go, like we would have our normal practices once or twice a day. But on top of that, you were expected to go and work out on your own in between classes and stuff. And just being able to work for long durations of time when nobody cared what you were doing because it was the right thing to do. Having developed that skill set has served me so well in my life. It's like, because none of it matters. Like I'll be here at 5 a.m. editing. Nobody knows I'm here. Nobody cares that I'm here, but like the work is going to get done come hell or high water.
So are you still tight with the 3 guys that you won the gold medals with?
One of them, yes. The other 2, not as much. They're good guys, and if I ever saw them, it'd be great. It's a really intense program. So I'm friends with 2 guys, really 3 guys out of that entire time. We had my freshman year, I think we had 19 guys in my freshman class, and by the time we graduated, there were only 3 of us. And so those 2 guys I'm very close with. And then there was another guy that was one class lower that close with, but it's such a pressure cooker and it's so intense. And, it just kind of like breaks you a little bit. So yeah, no, it wasn't like people I'm from high school. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm friends with a guy from like the wrestling team or the swim team. It's like, no, man, like you're crawling through hell. And obviously not a surprise. People, when they leave, they go off and do their thing. So you're close, but it's like, man, I got to go. Like I got things to get done in the world. I'm not sitting around. So yeah, no, I'm still close with people. It's a good time.
I mean, I guess, so I played at Boise State and there's probably a handful of guys that I'm still, 3 or 4 guys that I still chat with, but it's been 30 years.
Is that back when they had the leather helmets? And the cotton sweatpants?
I mean, yeah, we had no face masks. That's why it's so ugly.
Well, I figured that. I didn't know what the reason was, but I knew there was a reason. Nobody's just born that way. I mean, maybe real unfortunate guy, but
yeah, I didn't have the skills for one of those pretty sports, where your face is, part of your value.
Yeah. Yeah. People, that's one thing. People are like, oh, do you do MMA? I'm like, nobody hits my face. Like, I'll break legs and arms.
My moneymaker.
Yeah, right. Like I actually, like I've broken my nose several times just by accident. And one was a jiu-jitsu accident and one was a trampoline gym. Very unfortunate. But it is what it is. Don't go in those foam pits. There's blood everywhere. It's disgusting.
I know. Yeah. I've been to some of those we have one of those places out by my station and we go there once in a while. And yeah, it's always a foam pit.
Oh, it's the worst, dude. I tried to do a double front flip into the foam pit and I kept missing it. It was like 1.5, 1 3/4. And then finally I was like, dude, just stay tucked. Stay tucked and you'll make it all the way through. Because you keep opening up at the last minute. Just stay tucked. Be a man. You'll get there. Well, what happened is rolling around tucked tight to my knees and I bottomed out because I was like a 180-pound cannonball, right? So the foam only catches you if you stretch out and grab the foam. Well, I didn't. So I like hit the bottom and my knee, my right knee came and shattered my nose. So my skull was actually sticking out right here. And I had to get stitches on my leg too because I torn up my leg with my face. I cut my leg with my face. That's how bad it was.
Were you like prepping to impress a girl at the pool or something? Is that why you're...
Listen, man, I drink a lot of coffee. I'm committed, baby. That's great. Jim, God bless you, sir. Listen, I'm really happy I learned this stuff about the auditorium district. Is there anything that you'd like to kind of hit at the end? Are there any kind of scaries that are sitting out there? Anything you're worried about or anything you're really looking forward to?
No, I would, I guess what I
They don't pay
concerns
you
me-
a lot for being an auditorium guy, do they?
No, it's $5 a month.
Did you save up to get that shirt? I'm just curious. It's very nice. Seems about right for the cost.
Oh man.
God, I've had too much coffee. Jim, God bless you. Thank you for coming in. Is there anything you'd like to hit at the end? I will shut up, I promise.
No, I think so. I've been doing it 12 years. No. I would like another term to finish up some of the things that we're working on. My hopes and dreams for it. It's not, you don't run for the auditorium district for the money, or for it. It's not a launching pad to governor or anything like that. I actually do it because I love serving the community and love being a part of building things that are going to make it better. And I'd like another term to do it. I hope that the auditorium district statute stays the way it is and isn't changed. I know that sometimes there's some talk about, well, how could we use this money in different ways, or can we combine it with some other taxing entity? And I think as Meridian and Nampa develop their auditorium districts, which I hope they pass, because they are such a great tool for a community to build things that are necessary and without costing the citizens anything more.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, man. And the idea that you could just start pilfering it for other purposes, I hope people don't do that. I don't know even if you have competition in this race. I assume you do because were game for an interview. And if you're running unopposed, you probably wouldn't be. But whoever that person is, I don't know anything about him or her. I just sure hope they're not proposing to use the funding elsewhere.
No, I think everybody has genuine motivation to help there's two other people running. The election's May 20th, and early voting ends on Friday. But the district is bigger than people expect. So it goes from Eagle Road all the way to the other side of Harris Ranch, and from Lake Hazel all the way up to Hill Road and Floating Feather. So any hotel, any citizen, we collect tax from any hotel within that boundary, but any citizen who lives in that boundary can also vote.
Oh, so you get a wide swath of Eagle, you get all of Garden City, you get portions of Meridian, you get anybody east of Eagle Road and south of Floating Feather, essentially.
Yep.
That's a big district, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and a lot of people who don't know anything about the district, or even it's on their ballot. So,
hey, do you have anybody running under the blank slate of fiscal responsibility and limited government? I love seeing those. I didn't even know there were two people, but I guarantee you one of those two people is running, big signs out saying fiscally responsible, I love that. It's what are you talking about? There's no no debt spending. It's we can't debt. What are you talking? It's great. Look, I love them.
yeah,
if they want to come in for interviews, I'll interview them too. I have no idea who they are.
I'm proud of the fact that we went through COVID. So we built the expanded convention center in time, opened it in time for COVID. We were able to get a couple of years of operation in before COVID hit.
Yeah.
And people stopped traveling for meetings. So
obvious reasons. Yeah.
We didn't lay off a single person. We were able to maintain our core staff, and that was huge to come out of COVID and when people started traveling again and capture some of those conventions and meetings.
Because you didn't have to fire back up all the training. You didn't have you were already a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was big, and that was conservative budgeting then. But I am also a guy who wants to leverage. I don't want to sit on these assets, this capital. I want to put it to work, and I want to do as much as possible. I don't want to do just one project. I want to do multiple projects. That's my goal in this next 6 years.
I dig. Well, Jim, thank you for coming in, sir. Thanks for explaining this.
Thanks for having me, man.
And yeah, man, good luck with your campaign.
Thanks.
Go Blue.